Now, is this a common sort of game plan for finance guys?
Yeah.
It's like get the degree, get the internship, start to build the relationships, get into a big firm, learn the game, and then get to where the big money is.
Yeah, that's exactly right, right? That's the original kind of blueprint, was go to a good target school, undergrad, do 2 to 3 internships during the summer months. Generally, that last summer internship is where you will get your full-time offer. Go do investment banking for 2 years, leave investment banking, go get your MBA from like a Harvard or a Wharton. And then after you get your MBA, then position to then work on a private equity firm.
Got it. And then a private equity firm, you are essentially raising capital, deploying that capital, buying businesses often, or just investing into businesses. There's obviously a lot of layers to that as well.
Yeah, there's different types of private equity and there's different roles within those private equity firms. So you touched on a couple of different ones. So traditional private equity is usually businesses, right? That's what people, when they think about private equity, they're buying up private businesses, whether they're in tech or whatever industries that they're in, and they're usually specialized to those specific industries. And then, I know you and I are real estate guys, so the way that they are valuing those companies is based on earnings before interest or tax, so EBITDA, and then depreciation and amortization. But that's a multiple. We look at things on a cap rate. So the difference between a private company and a real estate is, a price to earnings ratio. Price earnings would be the EBITDA.
It's a stock term.
Exactly, right? Yeah. Or you think about a cap rate, which is NOI divided by your asset price.
Right.
So a cap rate is essentially an inverse price to earnings ratio.
Interesting. I never thought about it that way, but that's true. That's interesting. All right. So you were going to go the mold or the way of, let's call it the traditional route of get the degree, the right one, build the relationships, do the thing, get into this firm, earn my stripes, learn, grow, and then kind of branch off to where I'm controlling large amounts of capital. I'm, running with guys, investing, into different asset classes, et cetera, et cetera. So then how'd you get to where you are now?
Yeah. So when I started at BlackRock, and first and foremost, it wasn't easy for me to get into BlackRock. Like I said, I went to Chico State. That's not a target school. And so I networked and built relationships with any person that would take my email, call.
Guys, you got to get out there and knock on doors.
Yes.
You got to get out there and put yourself out there, ask questions, go for no. Buy that book.
That's a great book, by the way. And so I got initially denied to BlackRock, but I stayed connected with a handful of folks that I knew that were on the team. And they had, while I was in my last semester at Chico, they had some off-market hiring because they had some big layoffs. So they fired the directors and they hire some analysts and associates, so some cheap talent. And that's when I first got my interview. And then you go through the various rounds of interviews. They, usually at the big banks, they have what's called a super day. It's like the last round of interviews. They fly you out to the headquarters, which in this case was in New York. And,
was that an experience?
It was amazing. I remember getting on the subway and wearing a suit, and I was just a sweaty mess.
I think of like that show, Don Cheadle, House of Cards. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, I've seen House of Cards.
They fly out to the big dog's house, and it's just dope. He has a helicopter, and I just all like, we call that peacock, and you're just like, whoa.
No, I'm wearing like a JCPenney suit.
Love that. Love that. I'm proud of it, though.
Exactly.
You're like, dude, this was $300.
Yeah, right? I look good. And I'm just sweaty, but yeah, and I eventually got the job. Started on the capital markets desk for BlackRock. I did that for about 3 years, and then I was thinking about leaving BlackRock to then going and getting my MBA to then try to position into private equity real estate. A great mentor of mine who later became a great investor and friend sat in her office. She was a very senior person at BlackRock, told her what I was thinking about doing.
Ben, tell me about the culture at that conglomerate. Like, are you compartmentalized where it's like, hey, you are an analyst, analyze, report to your report, and do your thing and put in your hours, and, or is it sort of, and then how are the people there? I saw Gary Vee post the other day talking about why, remote work is going away because you build relationships in the first 6 weeks at a new place, and that can be a life-changing experience. So tell me about your experience actually being on the other side of a massive entity like that.
I always encourage young folks that reach out to me and ask for advice to try to break into a large corporate company, right? Because you're exactly right. And I believe, and I agree with exactly what Gary said. It's not as, I guess the stigma around being in a corporate office, there's cubicles, you just, it's work long hours. I learned so much during that time.
Yeah.
And built so many relationships that I continue to carry forward to this day, that had I not had that foundation, there's no way I could do what I'm doing now, leading a team, being a partner at the firm I'm at now, without first, having that foundation that I built during that time. And
it's sweat equity that you earn in real estate from being a real estate agent.
Exactly. Like
you're doing that on the finance side. You're essentially, it's like being a minion for Elon Musk, bro. If you're a minion for Elon Musk long enough, like you're just following this guy around in rooms with this guy on his private jet, having him just being around him, bro, you're going to be smarter than a lot of other people who have a cooler title than minion.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, it's like, I get it. And I agree. And I think so many people on this pod or that I talk to just in my life and my career, Ben, have got essentially where they are by putting in the hours, just saying yes, showing up, doing the work, and earning that experience. And I think, just as a side note, there's really two ways to do it. One way is to sort of learn with other people's money, which is the corporate way, I would say.
Yep.
The other way would be to get out there and become an entrepreneur a little bit earlier and start taking some big hits on your own, which is, kind of the way that I did it. There are pros and cons to both.
I agree completely.
Yeah.
My boss, the founder of the company I work for now, he did not go to college and is just a serial entrepreneur since he was 18 years old, buying deals, figuring it out.
And he's taking some on the chin, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, there's no, perfect blueprint to how to build a successful career. I mean, I think it all comes down to what we said earlier. It's just having grit and, showing up and working hard and being eager to learn.
I love grit, dude.
Yeah. And being a good person, right?
Agreed.
Yeah. If I can't stand to be around you, other people probably can't stand to be around you. And it doesn't matter how smart you are, you're probably not going to go far, because especially in the industries that we're in and investments, I mean, it's a team sport.
Yeah, I think likability is important, but you hit on that, like being a good person. And I think that's actually like alignment. I talk about that all the time. I think it's really important to be aligned spiritually, mentally. Like you have to be able to look someone like you and I in the eyes and be like, hey, look, can I trust this person, dude? And I think that you can feel that energy, and it's really, I don't want to get into the, whatever, but I think it's a real thing. And I think anyone, that's being honest with themselves understands that. I agree. We got to move on. Ben, your time is very valuable. I want to make sure that I'm cognizant of that.